racing. Bomb Cyclone is away safely and cleanly. Scoops Dynasty's going very fast. In company with In Hot Pursuit and Jess Fire, Me and Inspire, Corona Yo, Golden Boy too far back. Bomb Cyclone has raced away. Scoops Dynasty into second, but Bomb Cyclone, explosive by name and by nature, wins the Super Derby clearly over Scoops Dynasty, who was...
We have the blanket. Something real amazing, you know. I think I was waiting for this to trying to qualify again to the champion. And what kind of horse I have in the champion? It's just a fast horse, and I think he liked the number one. He braked, he stumbled a little bit, but maybe third, second jump he was already in front. Like he was gone.
We got lucky when we drew good because he likes the one hole. So
that draw was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Why does he like the one hole?
I don't know. You know,
he didn't have any choice in it. It came.
That's true as well.
But he just seems to run good down there. I don't know why. Some horses like the outside, and he likes the inside. You know, and it's amazing to see him. He just hits stride and keeps on going, you know.
Well, that was a fun look back at the sensational edition of the Grade 1 Super Derby this past weekend. Michael Renner, welcome back to the program. First of all, what'd you think of Bomb Cyclone's performance that night?
Well, I tell you what, I think a lot of Orlando Gutierrez's video compilation there, it just brings it all back, doesn't it? Very vividly. And you think about the anticipation in the saddling paddock and the hopes and dreams of the connections of so many top quality, I mean, absolute top shelf horses who ultimately were just left scrapping for a minor end of the spoils because Bomb Cyclone was in one race while the rest were in another. I got to give so much credit to Scoops Dynasty, who tried to take it to Bomb Cyclone in the early stages. Look how far ahead of the rest he was. What a tremendous performance by Scoops Dynasty, but he was still made to look second rate. This horse is an absolute freak, Bomb Cyclone.
He is. He showed up again on finals night. Just sensational. I mean, what a tremendous field that we're going to have assembled there for the champion and champions coming up and towards the first week of December. But Bomb Cyclone, he just looked like he was breathing a different kind of air out there. Just kind of reminiscent of his 2 million futurity win last year. He's in tip-top shape, and when he's that good, that's the combination of breaking well and having a horse that can accelerate very fast in the final eighth. That's exactly what Bomb Cyclone did there in the Super Derby.
Yes, it'd be interesting to see the final eighth of a mile split individually for both Golden Boy and Apolitical Candy V, because they made up ground. They both were left with way too much to do, but they got home strongly in their own right to finish third and fourth. Obviously in a different zip code pretty much to Bomb Cyclone, but they would have carved out a pretty slick final 220 yards themselves.
And watching the race live, I thought Apolitical Candy V was nowhere. Somehow he found a way to grab the Superfecta, which I think is remarkable thinking about everything that happened in that race. So, but yeah, no doubt that Bomb Cyclone made it seem like it was a one-horse race, and he has his sights set on the champion of champions. And what's interesting about the champion of champions is that it's the classic quarter horse distance of 440 yards. So he gets an extra 40 yards. And given how he's raced all along, he wants every bit of an extra 40 yards. He will be a major threat against the older foes in the Champion of Champions.
Yeah, the distance will not be a question mark at all. It's just going to be fascinating to see how he measures up against the older horses. I suppose they're going to do the same format. I see you've got my race up for Saturday night, but we'll circle back and touch on the Champion of Champions again at the end of the segment, because I've got a hypothetical to throw at you.
Okay. We'll leave that and we'll close out our segment with that thought. All right. Let's talk about Saturday night's card. We got 10 races on Saturday night. Don't forget, on Sunday night, we will have the C. Wayne Griffin Director's Trials, which are trials for the Grade 1 Champion of Champions. So a few other, I believe there's 2 spots. I might be incorrect about that. There might be a few more spots left to fill out that Champion of Champions field. But let's talk about Saturday night, race number 7. This is the start of the late pick for a 300-yard maiden event for the quarter horses. These are fillies going a distance of 300 yards. And I know you like the look of Apollitical Flight drawing the outside post.
Yes, 2-1 favourite on Ed Burgardt's morning line, and I think this will be the perfect opportunity for Apollo Flight to break through into the winner's circle. There was a lot going on in the most recent race that we have to show you from October 15 on what became a wet, fast track after a fair bit of rain. And this is a bit of a messy race. The horse is number 4, but breaks from gate 3 because of a scratch. But we're looking at the number 4 saddle cloth. The horse lugs in early, and other things develop later in the race that really took my eye, which will be more apparent still on the head-on replay. But you'll see this horse being forced in by the number 5 horse and being very tentatively ridden. As a matter of fact, the rider looks over his shoulder twice before the finish line, and you can see the 2 horse along the inside checking in that scrimmaging. The exacta horses came down the middle of the track. I think that was probably an advantage to be out there after the track went to wet fast. So I'm looking at a huge improvement potential for this horse now that she gets to the outside post position on Saturday. If you've got the head on, I think it'll be quite revealing.
Yeah, and I'm pulling it up here, courtesy of LosAlamitos.com, which you can also watch the head on right there at LosAlamitos.com. And we have the head on here. And again, we're looking at a number 4 horse, your Apollitical Flight. And, we had a wet track, and a lot of horses didn't take to the wet track. And I think this is one of those scenarios, but also was just very difficult to ride. And like you mentioned, the rider was actually pulling back in the saddle. So this horse could have, I think, finished better. Watch the number 4 horse here, Apollitical Flight.
Yeah, lugs in of her own accord early, but then the 5 starts to drift across and force Apollo Flight in, and the horse along the rail is in a very awkward spot, and Apollo Flight's jockey, Loza, looks around twice at the inside horse. It got very cramped, very awkward. Apollo Flight was tentatively ridden here as the drone shot, and isn't this a great innovation, Jose, to be able to get this overhead perspective? So this is a total throwout, and the gallop out was actually pretty decent. I think from gate 6 Saturday night, you're going to see the breakthrough performance. I will tell you, there's another horse that I kind of like in this race, and I'm thinking that we might even branch out into the realm of some exactas, Jose, because number 2, Extrovert, on debut, split Temple Court, who went on to qualify for the Golden State Million Futurity, and beat the Heat, who was a next time out winner. That debut form line reads very nicely, and the only other race so far for Extrovert was a failed attempt in those Golden State Million trials to qualify for the final, but it was only her second start. So here we are back in a maiden, start number 3, and I think 9-2 is very nice for Extrovert. I kind of like the 2-6 exacta box.
I like what you're thinking, because remember that race vividly on August 27th. They were the only 2 first-time starters in that race, Temple Court and Extrovert, and they had both worked pretty well. Extrovert had worked in 12:30. I think Temple Court had worked in 12:20 or maybe 12:30 as well, but they were very close. and they ran the exacta, I believe, 7-1 and 8-1 respectively. So the first time total didn't take much betting support, but we both liked those works, and they completed that exacta at a nice price. So I'm liking what you're thinking here with Extrovert getting back against Maidens.
Yes, indeed. And while Temple Court won that race by a clear margin, Extrovert did have trouble in running. I thought it was quite a satisfactory second in good time. And we know the quality, of course, subsequently of Temple Court. So I've never really spoken exactas on this preview show before, but that's the way I'm thinking. I do like a Polyflight from the outside post as the top selection. I think the horse is very well spotted to break through, but Extrovert has an outstanding chance to make a race of it, and I think we might use both in the exotics.
Thank you. I like that. I like that analysis, and I like the replay, both the head-on and the drone shot there with Apollitical Flight, who draws a more favorable post. Speaking of exotic wagers, Michael, last week on the show when we were previewing the stakes event, I alerted the viewers, watch one crazy long shot, and that crazy long shot ended up hitting the trifecta, finished third.
Stuck in probate.
Yes, and by a whisker, almost finished second at big odds, and that made the verticals pay very well there in the featured event last weekend.
Yeah, you probably didn't hear it because you would have been busy on the FanDuel TV set, but I gave you a little shout out after the race on the public address, mentioning that Stuck in Probate was your long shot pick from that race, and got into the third spot and really spiced up those exotics. Well done, mate.
Thank you. We profited on that wager there, played a little trifecta, and came up, and he came back very well. So good. It was a good week for the show last week. All right, let's wrap up the show. Speaking more of a little bit about what's to come. We talked about the Seawain trials coming up on Sunday, but look what Ed Burgard tweeted. Ed Burgard tweeted there a few days ago. I was fortunate to call 39 Champion of Champions with Mike Werner will announce the strongest field ever, in my opinion, for the 440-hour race on December 10th. Last year's world champion, Danjer, defending champion Apollitical Pence, and current standouts, Bomb Cyclone and Empressum, are set to clash. He's not wrong. Those are terrific runners. And what do you think about his statement that you might be calling the strongest field ever?
It's overwhelming, to tell you the truth. When you think back over the longevity of Ed in that booth and how many outstanding athletes he has seen through his binoculars at Los Alamitos, it kind of takes my breath away just to ponder what he has put out there. He's got such great perspective, and it just makes me feel deeply honored.
Yeah, so
as well as bloody nervous.
Yes. Woo! Talk about what a field you're gonna have to call. And not only that, on Ed Burgard's side, talk about the morning line. I mean, how is he gonna figure out this morning line?
Yeah. Oh, well, let me get back to what I was going to mention earlier. Yes. Here's my hypothetical. I don't know if we're doing the same post position draw format as we did last year, where the connections got to choose their post positions. Do you know if that's confirmed?
I would lean towards yes, because that usually is how it's traditionally done for the 2 million and the champion of champions every year, at least since I've been watching and following. So I would assume yes, it's going to be done that same way.
So assuming that's the case, would there be any possibility of another trainer, if given the chance to pick before Christopher Odell, jumps in and takes gate number 1 just so Bomb Cyclone can't have it again?
There might be some poker going on. We've seen that happen before, and that's the beauty of sorting out the order of picking your spots, where sometimes immediately some trainers want to go to whatever post position has worked before. Well, we know Bomb Cyclone, the rail has worked before, so if that's available, man, that's going to make it very interesting.
Well, 3 of the 4 wins at Los Alamitos for Bomb Cyclone have come from gate 1, and Odell famously picked that gate when he had the chance of pretty much the whole open gate at the draw last year, based on how great Bomb Cyclone fared in his 2 million trial from the rail. Theoretically, I mean, most people would shy away from the rail given the choice, but I just wonder if somebody thinks we've got to do something here. So someone might just want to be proactive and try and level the playing field, so to speak. Do you remember another racehorse who has had such a preference and dominance for the inside gate?
In recent years, yes, one stands out, and that's J Fire Up, that tremendous filly that had a sensational campaign. I want to say 2018, 2019. I want to say she won the 2 million from the rail. She might have won her trial from gate 2 or gate 1, and I think she won the Golden State Million from the rail as well. For some reason, she had an affinity for being drawn along the inside. She's the one that comes to mind in recent years. J Fire Up.
Yeah, a good recollection, but it is unusual, isn't it? And
it is.
So, gee, that's just going to be must see TV when we televise that post position draw live.
Yeah, it's another wrinkle to add to the puzzle there. That's gonna be fun. So, look, Bomb Cyclone looks sensational, and he looks ready to tackle the older foes there in the champions. Can't wait. Mike Corona, like Edberger just said, it's probably the strongest field ever assembled in the champions.
Yeah. I don't want to dwell on that anymore right now. I'll just go to work Saturday night. How about that?
Let me
just
good.
Focus on this one weekend at a time, mate.
That sounds good. We're not that far away, so we'll be talking about the champions in no time. So best of luck there with Apollitical Flight and Extrovert, maybe a little bit of an exacta play there in race number 7.
Okay, hooroo.
The best of quarter horse racing is always at Los Alamitos, like the Los Alamitos 2 million Futurity Trials on Sunday, November 20th, with the nation's top juveniles. When party politics and cyber attack met, it was a finish to remember in the Golden State Million Futurity.
Party politics!
They'll now head the trials to California's richest race, the Los Alamitos 2 million Futurity. All-American Futurity winner Keys Judge and Jury is also expected to race, plus other top juveniles.
Frivolous comes home valiantly roaring away.
Watch them fly. The best of quarter horse racing is always at Los Alamitos. The Los Alamitos Pick Fours are known as night racing's best bets, with huge pools, a $1 minimum, and big payouts. It gives horse players more bang for the buck. Our racing programs begin shortly after the major daytime thoroughbred racing action, and the Los Alamitos Early Pick Four always starts with our first race on the card. Big pools, great fun. It's the Los Alamitos Pick Four.
Golden Boy gathering them in. Photo. Golden Boy gets up to score.
Night racing's best bets, always at Los Alamitos.
Welcome back here to the program. Christopher Wade Knight joining us here from his home studio office. And Chris, first your thoughts on that tremendous Super Derby field, and of course, Bomb Cyclone turning into a one-horse race. What do you think of that performance?
That was scintillating. It was the hair on your forearm stood up. That horse is just scary impressive. It was ridiculous. I mean, Jiminy Christmas, his full brother got beat a nose in the Futurity the previous week, the Golden State Million Futurity, and obviously made up for his little brother getting beat around the wire with that incredible performance. That was just like, oh my God, really? It's like he's running downhill. Everybody else is running normal. Yeah. It was just, and he was trying out with not even been asked to run. That was just so impressive.
Reminiscent of Eduardo Nicasio on the rail. Kind of remind me of Apollitical Jest, where he won sensational the champion of champions from the rail. Kind of took me back to the red saddle towel. Obviously different connections, but Eduardo Nicasio was a common factor there. Eduardo has been lucky from the rail. He says he loves riding from the rail. When he's got horses like that love the rail, hey, you can't blame him. He's Bomb Cyclone. He's definitely breathing a different kind of air. And let me tell you, he's ready to tackle the older foes in the champion of champions.
Yeah, with the number he earned from that race the other night, that puts him right there with Apollitical Pence and Danjer, won the champion of champions last couple of years, and is undefeated this year and going great guns for Dean Fry.
All right, let's take a look at Saturday night. Mike Corona just gave us a selection for race number seven. Excuse me. You'll also go to the second half of the program. We'll go to race number 9. There's 2 races left. You know what time it is. Late daily double time. Race number 9, 300-yard maiden event for the fillies. 2-year-olds going a distance of 300 yards. And the betting is going to centered on 2 horses, Chris. Locomotion and Firewall. But I know that you like the way Locomotion looked on October 22nd.
Yeah, this is a horse who had troubled races against good competition in Rio Dosa. And whenever they come from Rio Dosa off that thin air, they always come to California ready to rumble, and that was the case with this horse. This is not a big-bodied horse, but the way he finished showed me something. He's a small-bodied runner, but didn't get away very well, broke slow, leaned in, was brushed. slow on the stride, but put forth a big run midway, was striding out very strongly and got close to a well-met runner who galloped out. It's a big-bodied horse and galloped out very, very well. But this horse galloped out very well in his own right. Comes out of post 3 here, but was very impressive in defeat.
So Silencer was the outside runner in Gate Number 8, who was the expected favorite and took care of business. Was also trained by Heath Taylor. The Locomotion was in Gate 3 here. So we'll focus on Gate 3. Eduardo Nicasa was aboard that night. He gets the mount back again. But what do you think about this race here by the 3-horse Locomotion?
I thought it was pretty impressive. This horse didn't get away at all whatsoever. Kind of broke slow, leaned back, was brushed back, slow on his stride. He lost, oh my gosh, like a length and 3/4 there, slow on the stride. But look at this run midway under a hand shove throughout. Was starting out very, very well. Kind of baby love tap right there. But finished within a half a length of a very impressive stablemate with a ton of ability. But this 3-horse did gallop out very, very well right there with his stablemate. So showed me something, and he always improved second time over the 9th time oval. And I think this horse got a big look there at the outcome in that 9th race.
Yeah, she's drawn in Gate 3 once again. We can see Silencer was a stablemate galloping out, but Locomotion was galloping out right alongside of that one. So it wasn't that it wasn't that bad of a race given the slow start. And visually, I like the way she made up that amount of ground midway. It's not easy to do.
No, it's really not. I mean, first time over the track, doesn't break at all. And the horses at prior races, I can notice Aria Dosa had trouble in all those races, was broke slow, bump back. But I did see some ability there. Thought the horse had a little bit of look at the outcome to get a slice of the pie, and that was the case. Didn't get away at all whatsoever, but big run midway, was finishing well, beat a half a length by a very talented stablemate, and galloped out pretty well. Actually galloped out right with the stablemate and showed me some ability. And they always improve second time over the track, so I think his horse got a big look in that 9th race.
You think Firewall is the main thread there, class dropper for that futurity trials? Yeah,
Valentin Zamudia always gotta give him. He's just going great guns with his stable, and this horse didn't lose all chance when reared this gate last time against quality opposition in those trials. But the prior efforts are pretty good when running 4th those 2 previous times with some trouble along the way. On the numbers, that's the horse to beat. But with expected improvement, I give the Heath Taylor charge a big look in that 9th race.
Yeah, it looks like Firewall might have a little bit more gate speed up to this point, while Locomotion has a better leg kick. So it's going to be a good matchup, I think. Good matchup down the middle part of the gate. Locomotion expected improvement. Second time over the track. You can see we got a field of 6 runners as Sweet Fire Girl is 7-2 coming out of that same race as Locomotion and now switching to the outside post. So I think it's an interesting race. Locomotion and Firewall could really turn it on to a good duel, but if they don't deliver it, it could be a leg where if you try to beat those 2 runners, you're going to get paid. But I'm the same thought process as you. I think both of these runners here are going to be, if they run to their races, it's going to be a good duel here in race number 9, which is the start of the late double. All right, Chris, thank you so much for that Locomotion analysis and selection. And what do you got in store as far as the simulcast signal? Are we tackling any other signals for the Nightlines?
Yeah, we got we're to the last 3 at Evangeline Downs, races 5, 6, and 7, and then races 3 through 12 at Lone Star Park. Got a number. I got some 870 trials, some claiming trials there with some horses shipping in with some decent numbers, and of course you got some maiden trials and so on later on down the lane. Horse I really, really like. I gave you one last week that Even Money was a gift on that horse off the videotape. The horse won by a length and a half at Even Money. But that was going 550, one of my favorite distances. But I got a horse in the last race, the 12th race at Lone Star Park. I think it's number 8, something along the lines of Sweet Candy, Sweet Candy Mine or something. It's 2-to-1 program, but horse had a ton of trouble in that last effort, broke slow, finished very nicely. And on the numbers, big look there at 2-to-1. And hopefully get a decent gate, get away from the gate and be tough to deny in the final at Lone Star Park on Saturday night.
Well, Chris, it's always fun when they win as easy as the one you gave us last week and make it look like a gift there at Even Money. So thank you so much for that selection and best of luck. Stay tuned to Christopher Way's Nightline analysis in the Nightlines. Also, you can catch him every racing night through the Los Alamitos video signal there on site. All right, Chris, best of luck here with Locomotion, race number 9 on Saturday night.
The best of quarter horse racing is always at Los Alamitos, like the Los Alamitos 2 million futurity trials on Sunday, November 20th, with the nation's top juveniles. When party politics and cyber attack met, it was a finish to remember in the Golden State Million futurity.
Party politics!
They'll now head the trials to California's richest race, the Los Alamitos 2 million futurity. All-American futurity winner, Keys Judge and Jury, is also expected to race, plus other top juveniles.
Frivolous comes home valiantly roaring away.
Watch them fly. The best of quarter horse racing is always at Los Alamitos. The Los Alamitos Pick Fours are known as night racing's best bets, with huge pools, a $1 minimum, and big payouts. It gives horse players more bang for the buck. Our racing programs begin shortly after the major daytime thoroughbred racing action, and the Los Alamitos Early Pick Four always starts with our first race on the card. Big pools, great fun. It's the Los Alamitos Pick Four.
Golden Boy gathering them in. Photo, Golden Boy gets up to score.
Night racing's best bets, always at Los Alamitos.
Welcome back to the program. Now joined here by Professor E. Professor, first of all, thank you for putting up that Super Derby montage video that we started at the beginning of the show. Great way to relive the moment as that tremendous race went down last weekend here at Los Alamitos. First of all, your thoughts. What do you think about that race, specifically there, Bomb Cyclone?
Well, it's just a very impressive performance by Bomb Cyclone. And what makes it even more impressive is how much we talked up the field, knowing that it was one of the best fields that we had seen recently. And for him to put up that kind of performance, facing those type of competition, that level of horses that were in there, that just shows you how razor sharp he is. And again, doing it from the rail, post one, his favorite position here at Los Alamitos. Eduardo Nicasio, Chris O'Dell, they said, we don't know why he likes it. We're just happy that he does. And that's just the way it went, right? Very impressive effort. And Jose Eduardo Nicasio now looking to tie the all-time record in Champion of Champions wins if he gets an opportunity to be on Bomb Cyclone in that big race coming up December 10th.
All right, so Mike Corona had this question for me, Professor. Actually, he had a couple of questions. First of all, in recent memory, is there any other horse that kind of thrived along the inside? And one name came to mind. Let's see if it's the same horse. But any horse that kind of lived and loved being along the inside part of the track? Do you remember anyone?
I can't remember anyone right off the bat. I've seen in some big races. I remember Joe Bassett selected the number one position for Blues Girl 2 when she ran the Los Alamitos 2 million futurity. And he was more than happy to take that spot for Blues Girl 2. And the big question back then was, can she go 440 yards? Can she go 400 yards? And he said, no problem. There's not that much difference between 350 and 400 for her. Is basically counting 1,000, 1,000, and boom, she's there. So, but I remember that he was more than happy to take the rail for Blues Girl 2, and I believe it was for the 2 million futurity. You have a horse in mind? I
mentioned J Fire Up because
that's right.
Yeah, she won the 2 million from the rail. I want to say she won the Golden State Million also from the rail, but also some of those trials, I think she won it from post 2 or 3. So she was always stuck on the rail for that sensational 2-year-old campaign, and she loved it. Even Jaime Gomez said, I remember vividly in some of the interviews, he mentioned she loves being on the inside. Yeah,
pretty similar situations. 2 fillies, they both like the rail in that same caliber of races, those big races, the Champion of Champions, the 2 million for their age division. So pretty similar. Yeah, you're right. More than once, I believe she won some big races from post number 1, including the 2 million.
Yeah, and Mike Corona was also asking, what do you think about the post draw? Do you think somebody, if somebody gets to pick ahead of Bomb Cyclone, will they take the rail just to take it away from him? Could there be some poker playing there in the post position draw?
No, I got to think that they'll do whatever they feel is best for the horse, and they won't worry about, the other horses. They, especially with the type of competitors that will have. Apollitical Pence. Remember, Apollitical Pence has shined from post number 6. I think maybe both of his Champion of Champions wins may have come from post number 6. Empressum, he's won from the inside. He's won from the outside. I don't think it matters with a horse like him. And, of course, Danjer, he'll be the bigger question with Danjer is, how quickly he can acclimate to everything at Los Alamitos. He's raced under the lights before, so I'm sure he'll be able to do that very, very quickly. So I think that'll be the main thing, is just making sure that they have the best position for their horse.
Do you have any idea, any news on when we can expect Danjer to hit the ground here at Los Alamitos?
It's a very good question. I believe His paper's already on the ground, so if he's not here already, he will be here anytime soon. So I know that the he's been checked in already as far as like all the his AQHA paperwork is in, and I'm sure that if he's not here right now, any day now.
All right, so it's a great time of the year, obviously, with the futurities, with the champion of champions. We got the C. Wayne Griffin Director Trials, which are trials for the champion of champions this weekend, Professor. An early look into some of the entries that are pointing towards Sunday's trials. We don't have the draw just yet, but look at some of the names here, and the one that kind of jumps off the page for me right now, it's Golden Boy. They're going to wheel him right back off of that Super Derby into the C. Wayne trials.
Yeah, and maybe looking back at Ocean Runaway. Ocean Runaway did not win the Super Derby. He came into the Z. Wayne Griffin Director's Trials, ran a heck of a race in the Director's Trials to make it to the Champion of Champions, and then he goes on and win the Champion of Champions. Apollitical Time, if I remember correctly, beat Ocean Runaway in that running of the Super Derby. So Golden Boy is going to try to do it in a similar way. And like Ocean Runaway, Golden Boy is a colt. So very important for horses at this age of colts, trying to put on a good showing as they, as they start getting closer to those big races and maybe looking forward to a stallion career.
That's what we're looking forward to this Sunday coming up at Los Alamitos, the C. Wayne Griffin Director's Trials. Professor, do you know how many spots will be up for grabs here in the trials?
Well, we'll have at least 4, Jose, because already Z. Wayne Griffin Trials, we're going to offer 2. Apollitical Pence won the Winter Derby and the Los Al Championship, so that opens up 1 spot. Danjer won the Remington Park Championship, and he won the Bank of America, so that opens up another spot. So looks like we'll have 4 spots in the Z. Wayne Griffin Director's Trials. I'm surprised you didn't mention that Apollitical Pence kind of stands out as well on that list. Apollitical Pence, of course, trying to win the Champion of Champions for the 3rd straight year. And the last 2 times he qualified to the race by going in the Z. Wayne Griffin. So once again, he's going to take that same route and try to qualify, but try to sharpen up his form going into the Champion of Champions by using this race. And Monty has always loved this race. He did a similar thing with Zooming for Spots. Even when Zooming for Spots already had his berth secure for the Champion of Champions, he would like to enter him in this race just to sharpen him up. So looking forward to these trials again on Sunday. Several spots up for grab. Apollitical Pence is already in. Golden Boy looking to just a quick turnaround, trying to qualify. But look at the other names: Cattail Cove, 2-time stakes winner here. Circle City, a Grade 1 winner. Sweet Dash of Fire, the filly, she won a Derby, facing males. Whizkey Glasses, of course, that barely missed the Super Derby. He's in there. Powerful Favorite, the Millionaire. He's trying to get back to the Champion of Champions once again. And, of course, several other nice names like La Estrella Corona, Catella Avenue, Just Apolitical Girl, and Apolitical Famous V. So that's the group that right now looks like will be in action this Sunday in the Z. Wayne.
And Apolitical Pence, I was thinking Power Favorite. Power Favorite just heard that his little brother won the Super Derby and he's heading to the championship. He's like, I want to join my little brother. I want to make it into the final. So you were able to catch up with some of the connections about these horses, right?
Yeah, we had a chance to talk to Chris Odell right after Bomb Cyclone won the Super Derby, and we asked him about Powerful Favorite, and this is what Chris Odell had to say about his long-standing superstar, Powerful Favorite.
Powerful Favorite, if I'm not speaking out of turn, will be in the Z. Wayne next week, and then hopefully he can qualify. That would be nice to have 2 brothers in there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's being a little greedy, but we'd like to have 2 brothers in there. And then that may be his Champion of Champions, if he was to qualify, would be his last race, or maybe the Z. Wayne Griffith might be his last race. He'll be 7, and he needs to probably slow down.
Okay.
And so
his career's coming to a close.
So this will be his last fair run.
And not because of leg-wise. It's just, he's had a lot of miles. He's made over $1 million, and he's done everything we want him to, and we'll probably, he'll have the best I believe he's going to stay with me, and
cool.
I'll probably ride him it'll be a deal like
Lava Man?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll ride him some. He'll stay up with me and be taken care of. And
Well, that's a cool insight there, Professor, as they're talking about powerful favorite, the old pro, millionaire, possibly C. Wayne, if he doesn't make it into Champion of Champions, this will be his last time, or if he gets to make it into Champion of Champions, that'll be his swan song, his go out race. But what a career! He's been at the top of the game for many years, and it's pretty cool to find out here they're trying to do like Lava Man. He's going to stay around the barn and hang out and be a pony.
Yeah, when he started his career, we had just begun to hear about that great cross between Favorite Cartel and Remember Me Rose. He may have been the first major winner from that cross, and ever since then, it seems like every year there's a superstar that comes out from the cross of Favorite Cartel and Remember Me Rose, and it may have all started with Powerful Favorite. Chris also mentioned about Run for Your Life. Yes. And Run for Your Life is now in Arizona with John Firth, and they're training him to be a rodeo, maybe a roping horse. I'm sorry, roping horse. And they were saying how much he likes it. He's enjoying that career because these horses are so smart. They can pick up a second career. So that's where Run for Your Life is, a full brother to all these great horses. Now we know what's in store for Powerful Favorite, something similar to Lava Man, the great Lava Man. And we definitely know what's in store for Bomb Cyclone. Cyber Attack, will see him next week in the 2 million trial. So it's kind of cool to follow all these brothers and all the great things that they're achieving.
And I got to tell you, Professor, in my years of watching these winters, as far as being a racing fan and now on the FanDuel set there at Los Alamitos, I think this year's 2 million trials are going to be some of the most filled talent trials that we've seen in years past. I think you're going to see one of the fastest bubble times to get into the final. Well, maybe we'll have to dig it up and see what the bubble time has been in years past. But I think you're going to have to go very quick to just make it into the final. I think it's loaded with talent this year.
I mean, the Golden State Million trials were super good, right?
Yeah.
And now we're going to be adding a lot of really nice horses from Heath Taylor's barn. We're talking about He's Judge and Jury, Sicario, Chasing AJ. All those runners finished first, second, and third in the All-American Futurity. We're going to throw those horses in the mix, maybe throw a couple of more horses, that maybe we didn't see in the Golden State Million trials. Eddie Wills will have some really good horses. We know Party Politics. We know Cyber Attack. Frivolous is also in nominated. I'm sure Monia Rose is going to have a nice group of runners. So you're right, Jose. It's going to be a heck of a night next Sunday here at Los Al with the 2 million trials.
One runner that did not make it into those big finals that I've been waiting for him to stretch out, Professor, Spaceflight. He had a horrible break. I think he stumbled badly when we saw him, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, against He's Chickless, right?
Yes, I'm waiting. And He's Chickless, another name that can rocket out of the gate and be in the, so those two names, Spaceflight and He's Chickless, another couple of names to add to that list of runners that we'll be expecting on November 20th for the 2 million trials. All right, so you also got a chance to catch up with Monte Rosa, right?
Of course, we had to go visit, find out what Apollitical Pence is up to, how he's coming into this very important race, a sharpener for the Champion of Champions, and also got to talk a little bit about Whizkey Glasses, a grade 1 winner, also being pointed to the Z. Wayne Griffin trials with a hope of qualifying to the Champion of Champions. Here's Monia Rosa.
I'm a real believer in not changing what's worked. And the last 2 years, he's qualified for the Champion of Champions through the Z. Wayne trials. This year we were fortunate enough to get qualified early and kind of been able to pick our spots. He came out of the Robert Boniface Championship in great shape and has been training super. And so, I just decided not to change it. It's worked for us before, and so we're going to run in the trials this weekend.
I know history means a lot to you, so talk a little bit about that specific part.
Well, Refrigerator is probably my all-time favorite racehorse. I love him. He is quarter horse racing to me. And to be mentioned even in the same, sentence as Refrigerator is pretty amazing. And to have a chance to tie, his record would be just phenomenal. And, it's exciting. It's nerve-wracking. It's, I'm looking forward to it.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. That's what we get up. I get up every day at 3 o'clock and come here. I love the horses, and they've certainly been great to me, and so that's what we do it for.
And you also have one more contender that you're pointing to the Z Wayne, that being Whizkey Glasses, Grade 1 winner last year and top performer this year as well.
Whizkey Glasses, we had a great 2-year-old campaign with him. We ran him here early in the El Primero. We ran second, and then I shipped him over to Remington, and he won the Heritage Derby. And at that point, we decided to give him a break. And you always look back, hindsight's 2020, and I brought him in, and we worked him a couple of times, and he probably needed a race before the Super Derby, so I didn't do a real good job of prepping him for that. Felt like he came out of the Super Derby trials great, and we feel like he deserves a chance to run, in the Z Wayne trials and take a shot at getting in the Champion of Champions.
The quality of horses that were in the Super Derby trials, Whizkey Glasses just barely missed until the last trial. So we know that he's certainly among the top sophomores in the nation, and sophomores tend to do pretty good by the time Champion of Champions comes around.
Yeah, it was tough. He hung in there right till the end, was 11th, and like I say, I'll take all the responsibility. I think that was probably my fault in not having him quite as ready, and so hopefully we have him a little more ready now for these trials, and it'd be fun to qualify him as well.
Well, there it is, talking about Apollitical Pence and Whizkey Glasses. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right, Professor? He used the Z Wayne trials as a way to get in, but he already has his ticket. But they say, you know what? We're going to run him, follow the same path, and get into the Champion of Champions.
Yeah, he doesn't want the horse to kind of maybe get a little soft. He wants to kind of sharp, want him still hungry. He's going to get some competition there, some really good competition, because we saw the list of names there. So, most important part has to be just having him in tip-top shape going into the Champion of Champions. Is something that Heath Taylor has said, that everything they've been doing with Empressum has been pointing into the Champion of Champions and having him come in at 100%. And in Danjer, they're going to have to face Danjer, the reigning world champion. So you have to be at the highest level. Crystal Dale has to feel good with the way Bomb Cyclone has run. And we'll see what else we have happening this Sunday. We'll see who else rises to the top in those trials. So it's going to be a fun night just to see that Champion of Champions field kind of, all those puzzle pieces kind of come into place for that great race.
Yeah, we got Z Wayne trials this Sunday, the 13th. We got November 20th, which is the 2 million trials. Then the 27th is the SoCal Derby trials. And then week after that, we'll be talking finals for the 2 million and Champion of Champions. So time is flying by. Once we get into this time of the year, Professor, every week goes by so quick because there's something big to look forward to. Speaking of Champion of Champions, Professor, I caught way of this tweet by Ed Burgart. I showed it to Mike Corona. He had no idea this tweet existed. He said, now I feel the pressure, Jose, because if Ed's saying this might be the best field ever, I don't want to think about it until it's race time, because I'm going to be thinking about how good of a field I'm going to have to call. So what do you think of this tweet by Ed?
Ed doesn't miss, when he looks back at history. So if he thinks this is the best Champion of Champions field, this probably is the best Champion of Champions field. And I took a quick look at some of the past fields that we've had. 2018 comes to mind because we had 3 world champions, horses that would be or had been world champions. He's a Dash of Fire, Bodacious Eagle, who won the race and would go on to be named world champion. He Looks Hot was also in there. In a total of 7 AQHA champions were in that group, but not all of them were like at the peak of their performance. Some of them still had their best racing to come. Some of them maybe had done their best work a year or 2 earlier. In this group, they're all coming like at the very, very top of their game. So I think that's the difference. You have just horses that are razor sharp, where maybe in some past great lineups of the Champion of Champions, some of those horses maybe had done their best running, in a few years past, or were going to be at their best. This group, they're at the peak.
Yeah, this is going to be a sensational group. Just those 4 names that Ed Burgard mentioned in that tweet are, our standouts right now based on what they've done and how at the level that they are up to this point. one year that I thought was very, very good, that kind of stands out in recent memory, was 2006. That Wave Carver ended up winning over a wet track that had Apollitical Time in there. Who was
Bono? Probably Catch Me in Your Dreams. Probably Who's Leaving Who?
Country Chicks, man.
Yeah,
that's the one that year also is. It's one of the years that kind of stands out to me. But the way all these runners are coming into level wise, their form wise into this Champion of Champions, and I'm in agreement with that. I think this is the best Champion of Champions field that we have seen here at Los Alamitos. Well,
what else can you say? Fun. Can't wait.
Yeah, can't wait. So how many years did Ed Burghardt say he called it? 39. Ed Burghardt called 39 Champion of Champions, Professor. Talk about longevity. How many of those were you here for at Los Al?
I've seen every one since 1993. So this will be my 29th Champion of Champions. The first one was Refrigerator's second victory in the Champion of Champions. The following year, nobody thought that he could win that race. He got into the race as, I believe, the defending champion. Back then, if you won the Champion of Champions the previous year, you automatically got in the next year. So I think that's the only way that Refrigerator may have gotten in that year, if I remember correctly. But the cream rises to the top, and when those gates open, he just was lights out and did it again. The Great Refrigerator. It was a heck of a field as well. I remember Down with Debt was the top runner at the time. She was the top mare. She ended up that year, I believe, winning the World Championship title. But on that night, it was all about Refrigerator. That's when he won his third.
Yeah, can't wait. It's going to be a fun one. First, we'll get to see who's going to fill out the field with this Sunday's edition of the C. Wayne Griffin Director's Trials. And then we'll know who's going to be set up there for that renewal in the 50th edition of the Champion this year. And again, the purse is bumped up this year, right, Professor?
$750,000, Jose. So big money on the line, a lot on the line from a historical point of view, with Apollitical Pence and all those great runners, Danjer, Empressum, Bomb Cyclone. So I can't wait. I'm certainly going to be here for that race. Looking forward to that big night of racing, Jose.
All right, Professor, thank you so much for that montage of the Super Derby. It was great to relive the moment and be on site there on track. You got us up close and personal with the saddling action, the horses getting ready there, and the people lining up the rail there to see all these horses getting saddled. It's those are the nights you kind of always remember as far as being at the racetrack, because there's a certain sense of emotion and drama as we approach big races like that, and you were able to capture it very well with your montage.
Thanks so much. Yeah, the energy, the buzz.
Yeah.
You can really feel it. You can feel a little bit of the tension, the energy from the anticipation from the horsemen. And when those horses get on the track and Michael Runner starts giving the post parade, you're just like counting the minutes until that gate opens to see who's going to be the best. And on that night, it was Bomb Cyclone.
Professor, thank you so much for that. Do you know our approximate post times for this week?
It'll be 6 p.m. on Saturday. We have a 10-race card. Some good action there. We even have we're bringing in some races from Japan as well. The Queen Elizabeth, a grade 2 race from Hanshin, I believe, is going to be part of our simulcast program. On Sunday, I don't have the PPs yet. I have a feeling that it's going to be similar to last week, around 5:15, 5:30 p.m. post.
Yeah, I have a technical issues at Casa de los Ponies. My printer gave out, Professor, so I was able to print out my PPs as well. So I'm kind of working digitally here, but we'll get underway Saturday night, probably around 6 p.m. there for that Saturday night program. Thank you, Professor. I'll see you out there this weekend.
Thank you so much, and thanks for all the viewers. Hope you you come out and visit us here at Los Alamitos in the future. Nothing like watching the races live.
Favorite Cartel sired 3 of the first 4 Golden State Million finalists, including the Fast Hill.
Cyber Attack is putting on quite a display of speed tonight.
Meanwhile, in Texas, a Favorite Cartel won the Dash for Cash Derby.
But Favorite Bluesman streaks to victory.
At the major sales, 38 Favorite Cartels sold for $100,000 or more. Whether racing or selling, Favorite Cartel can put you in the big game. Contact Burns Ranch today.